Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody on this wonderful Monday? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. As always, take a couple minutes while I get myself set up and focused. We'll go ahead and jump into this lesson, get this party started. Where's my charger at? Gotta find the charger piece. There it is. Oh, that plugged in. Battery's a little low. I'm like, oh, I have to charge it today. I don't know if I'll be able to make it through that. How you doing, Miss Alicia? Hope you and Mr. Leo are doing well. Appreciate you being here as always. Give a couple more minutes as I set up, and we'll go ahead and get this party started. Yeah, it's high quality H2O. All right, and let me get this focused. It's all up on the ceiling. Allergies. Oh, it is that time of year, ain't it? I thank God I don't have allergies, because I know people that do, and they be miserable. My daughters have allergies, and man, like my one daughter, she hates to even go outside. It's so bad. Oh, it's crooked for some reason. Let me just see it. Still looks a little crooked for some reason. Yeah, get it. Maybe I'm just crooked. That's what it is. All right. Well, it's a few minutes after, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I appreciate y'all being here. I hate to hear about your allergies, Miss Alicia. Definitely keep you in prayers. Like I said, I know people that have them, and the people that have them, they detest them. So I can feel your pain. Although I've never had them myself. Thank God I've never been allergic to anything. I haven't found I have any allergies, at least up until this point. So I'm hoping there's none there. So I appreciate y'all for being here tonight. Welcome everybody that's here. Whether you're gonna watching it live, or you're watching it later on at your own leisure. Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church, here to bring y'all another wonderful lesson tonight on obedience and blessings, or disobedience and disobedience and curses. I hope y'all have been enjoying this series that we've been on for quite some time. But more than enjoying it, I hope that you've been learning something from it. That's more important than enjoying it. I love for y'all to enjoy the sermons and all that. That's cool. But man, if you're not learning nothing, then I'm not doing my job. You know, I don't want you to just enjoy it. I want you to get something from it. And I hope y'all have been getting something from it. I've had a couple people say they have. I don't know why this is so crooked today. I'm sorry. Hold on, y'all. My OCD won't let me go on until I figure out what is going on here. Why is it so crooked? It looks crooked to me. Like it's slanted. I don't know what's going on with that today. It is. Oh, that's probably what it is. It's coming loose. That's what it is. Okay. Hope y'all see my butt crack. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. No wonder it was looking so weird. I'm like, something's going on here. Now, it was messing with my mojo. Yes, Miss Ashley, I said, and I feel for you guys that have the allergies. I hope you'll get to feeling better take you some clarity into something and get the feeling better. So again, sorry about that. That was knew something was off. It was looking all crooked, and I couldn't get it, and it was messing with me. But appreciate y'all being here tonight. Brother John Stewart, on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministry, of course, sponsored by Revelation Baptist Church, here to bring out a lesson, as I said earlier, continuing this lesson through obedience and blessings, or disobedience and curses. Hope y'all have been enjoying it. We on lesson number 12. I think we only got two or three more. I think you only got 2 or 3 more, and we should be done with it. I was reading a little bit ahead today, and I think we're not far from being done with it. We'll move on to another series. But again, I hope y'all this series is helpful. It's a very important series. Like I said, it's the first series that I've done completely on obedience and blessings, or disobedience and the obedience and the blessing that comes along with it, or the curse that comes along with disobedience. I've hit on it several times in several other lessons before, but this is the first time I've had a lesson based solely on that. So again, I hope y'all are being helped by it. Appreciate y'all being here tonight on this Monday night. Just to let y'all know a couple of things. For those of you who've been asking about my wife, been praying for us, I appreciate the prayers. She is doing somewhat better. She had a really good day Saturday, and we were like, oh, maybe it's over. And then Sunday came around and kind of hit her again with some headaches, and because she was able to speak a little bit clearly on Saturday, and she was doing fine walking on her own. She still had the walker, but she was walking a little bit better. Felt a little bit of strength back in the left. And then Sunday we had the grandkids. And I did take care of the grandkids, but for the most part, because she's down, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if she just didn't get sleep or what, but Sunday she woke up and she was back miserable again. So y'all just keep us in the prayers, and we're going to try to keep this thing going. Like I said, God bless me with a daughter that's able to kind of step in and help with my wife's responsibility. So this worked out perfectly for us. So I appreciate that. And also, if y'all have been trying to tag me and stuff on Facebook or something this week, and I haven't responded or liked it or anything, not mad at you. This is my week before my birthday. My birthday will be this Saturday. Lord willing, next Monday, y'all see me. I'll be a year older. Be 45, man, getting old. So, but I always like to take a week this is my fasting week. So I take a week and I get away from all social media. I don't get on TikTok, none of that stuff. No TikTok, no social media, no Facebook. I just try to stay away from all negative stuff and just keep myself in a positive mindset for the entire week. And then I like to start my birthday off, the first a couple hours of my birthday started off in prayer, wholehearted prayer, fasting prayer. So if I haven't responded, you tag me in something, I haven't responded or liked it or whatever, that's what it is. I'm not ignoring you guys. I won't be on Facebook again till sometime Saturday, maybe Saturday evening, most likely, before I get on Facebook. I'm on here now. I got on today and I just made the post about the lesson tonight. And of course I'm doing the lesson, but that's it. I haven't, checked my profile or none of that stuff, because I'm trying to stay away from all that stuff this week, especially with all the election and all that negative stuff that's going on with it. Staying away from it. So, I can still reach me through Messenger though. I still get my messages. I just don't get on my actual Facebook profile and check it, for the whole week. Just, try to get some positive vibes going before I go talk to the big guy, to celebrate my birthday, the number 45. So, if y'all want to send me some gifts or something, I never will reject those, but you don't have to. I just appreciate y'all being here and support the ministry. So that being said, I'm going to jump into it tonight. Got another good lesson. Y'all, I've been trying my best to do 2 and 3 points so we don't get through it, and it's not such a long series. Instead of doing it, line by line, precept by precept, but that's just how it works. It works better for me. I really feel when I try to do more than one point, I kind of rush the first one just so I can get to the second one. And I just I just got to a point I'm just not going to do that. If me doing the first one take up all the time, then I'm just going to do one. So I do apologize if that they are like, man, hurry up. I just want to get through it. But it's just, once I said, I start writing, and a lot of times I won't even have a lot of ideas. I just have an idea about what direction I want to go, and then the spirit take over, and the next thing you know, I got 4 or 5 pages. If I get 5 pages, then that's a lesson. I've learned that, anything more than 5, then we're going to be here for quite some time. So I got 5 pages. I'm going to do one more point. I'll try, but I ain't gonna make no problems. I'm just gonna do how the Lord lead me to do it. But but I think, like I said, a lot of people have been enjoying it. I've been getting a lot more views, so I think it's been having a lot of people. I've had people reach out, saying it's been good. So hopefully, this is y'all speed, and this is what y'all like, and it's really helping y'all, because I know it's helping me as well as I'm going through this. So with that being said, we in 1 Samuel 15 again, lesson number 12 from 1 Samuel 15, and it's just so weird teaching out of the Old Testament because I never really felt it was that much in the Old Testament. Yeah, some good stuff to highlight and now and again, but most of the time, we just read through the Old Testament just to get to the New Testament. But when you really go back and look, a lot of the Old Testament and New Testament, they mesh completely. In the same lessons that you can teach out of the New Testament, you can really teach out the Old Testament as well. And Jesus in the Old Testament as well, and a lot of stuff that's in the New Testament is in the Old Testament, and you really get to see how it all ties together. So it really kind of works out. So that's what we've been doing for the last few weeks, going over the series of obedience and blessing, or disobedience and curses. So last week, the message we did last week was a point that was lesson number 11, point number 16. Point number, excuse me. Point number 16 from last week's lesson was this. We was looking at the curses, and point number 16 of last week's lesson was a curse of disobedience is a lack of accountability. And of course, we just went through and looked at society and everything that's going on in society today, and how nobody is really willing to take accountability for their actions. Everything that they're going through is always somebody else's fault. We're the victim here. That people get with the victim mentality, and just instead of just sucking it up and taking accountability that, hey, I'm a terrible person that makes terrible decisions, but I want to do better. Once we get to that point, and Miss Ashley stole my thunder last week, but until we take accountability, we can't even really get the blessings. You know what I'm saying? That God has for us until we take accountability. I was trying to say it last week. Had this whole big setup, and then Ashley just went in and swooped it in. I guess I was just taking too long, and she got too impatient. But it was good though, because she was right on point and she knew exactly where I was heading, and it was a blessing to have y'all here. So that's what I covered last week. If that sound interesting to you, you didn't watch last week's lesson, go back and watch it. You can always watch it easily on my Facebook page. I never delete any videos, or you can go to my YouTube page. It's a lot easier to find old videos. You can go there and look up the old videos, and it is loaded on my YouTube page as of this past Sunday, yesterday. So that being said, we're gonna be in 1 Samuel again. We're getting toward the end of 15, and we're gonna jump into 16. And I think we'll have once we jump into 16, we'll have a different set of lessons to go through. We're gonna be in 1 Samuel 15, verse 24 is where we're gonna be at tonight. So I'm gonna read the text verse, pray, and then we're gonna jump into the lesson. So then, and of course, I'm gonna start at verse 24, but the text verse is gonna come from verse 25 and 26 is going to be where our text verse is going to come. But I always like to start a little bit ahead, kind of where we left off last lesson before we get to our new spot this lesson. So in 1 Samuel, I'm reading out the New Living Translation. If you're reading along with me and your Bible don't say the same thing that my Bible says, because I'm reading out the New Living Translation, it's just a lot easier to teach out, and I don't have to explain so much stuff. But I am a wholehearted King James believer. That's what I read when I put the lesson together. But I like teaching out the New Living Translation just to help my people out a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. So with that being said, I'm going to read to you what the Lord says in 1 Samuel 15, chapter 24 through 26. The Lord tells us this. He says, so then Samuel finally admitted, yes, I have sinned. I have disobeyed your instructions and the Lord's command, for I was afraid of the people and did what they demanded. So, of course, that was the lesson last week, taking accountability. It said he finally took accountability, but it shows you that he was trying to blame it on everybody else at first. And even right there, when he took accountability, he said, I was afraid of the people and what they did. Instead of just saying, I did what I wanted to do instead of doing what God wanted me to do. And that's why he got in trouble, because he was disobedient. So that was last week's lesson. Again, if you want to, it's about taking accountability. So you don't want to read that, you want to hear that lesson, go back and watch that video from last week. So then the night text verse says, so, oh, please. So he said, people, for I was afraid of the people. I was afraid of the people and did what they demanded. Oh, please forgive my sin now and go with me to worship the Lord. But Samuel replied, I would not return with you. Since you have rejected the Lord's command, he has rejected you from being the king of Israel. So that's going to be our text verse. I'm going to start right there and pray. Then we're going to jump into the lesson for tonight. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us today. Thank you for giving us another day, another opportunity to come here and get in your word tonight. Thank you for letting me had a pretty busy day at work today, but a good day. I always like the busy days because they go by so quicker so much quicker than when the long, boring days, Lord. So I appreciate that. And thank you for everybody else that's here tonight, whether they watching tonight live or watching later on. Thank you for just giving them the want to put the time in to be here, Lord, to hear your word. And I pray that, as always, you use this time that you've given us tonight. Use this time, Lord, to honor and glorify your name, build your kingdom, help people build closer relationships with you than they've had previously before they started listening to this lesson. Lord, I pray that you let these words that spoken here tonight, this wisdom that spoken here tonight, touch the hearts of those that hear these words, Lord. Bring them under conviction. If there's something they're doing that's keeping them from being close to you, bring them under conviction about that thing, or give them the wisdom to make the right decisions, to make to do the things they need to do to be obedient to you, so they can have a closer relationship with you, Lord. We ask you to just send your spirit upon my heart, give me the words and the wisdom to bring a lesson forth tonight that will help people come closer to you. And I pray you send your spirit down upon their hearts to give them the wisdom, be willing to accept this wisdom that I'm sharing with them, and let a seed be planted in their heart to bring them under conviction, so they may make the right decision and do the right things, go to the right places, so they may be willing to honor and glorify you with their lives. Thank you so much for this time here in your word tonight. Pray you use this time for the honor and glory of your name and the building of your kingdom. And as always, let your spirit guide this session, so we may do the things you have for us to do to honor and glorify you. We love you and thank you for all you've done and given. Say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. So we got the situation. Of course, I'm not going to go back through the situation. We've been doing this long enough now. Y'all know the situation we're in. God gave Saul a command, told him exactly what to do, told him exactly how to do it. He went in, and instead of doing exactly what he was supposed to do, the way the Lord told him to do it, he decided to do it on his own. The Lord told him to kill everybody and destroy everything. He killed everybody except the king, and he destroyed everything except for the good stuff. So he basically went in and did exactly what he partially obeyed. But y'all remember one of the lessons I talked about, partial obedience is still disobedience. So he was still disobedient. So now we get to the point where he's about to go through his punishment because of the disobedience. And we just been looking at other little things that we pulled out as we went through these verses to show little curses that has come upon him because of his disobedience. And tonight we have another curse we're gonna go through. I told y'all the first few lessons was good, and we talked about the blessings, but all the rest of them are going to be about the curses. And it's always like that. Even I think I read to y'all, I think it was Deuteronomy 34. We saw what the God gave verses on obedience and the blessings that come from obedience, and it was like a couple of paragraphs. And then he went through the curses that's going to come from disobedience. It was like 2 whole pages, so the curse is going to always, the bad is always going to outweigh your good. And that's why it's so important to stay doing good. So right here in the text verse again, he says, he finally admitted that he had sinned, but again, he tried to blame it on the people instead of just saying he made some terrible decisions. But then he said, "Oh, please forgive my sin now, and go with me to worship the Lord." But Satan replied, "I will not return with you. I'm not going with you." He said, since you have rejected the Lord's command, he has rejected you from being the king of Israel. So with that being said, tonight's point, another curse of disobedience, another curse, another bad one. All of them are bad because all of them separate you from God, but this one literally separates you from God. So number 17 is this. Another curse of disobedience is a loss of fellowship with God and godly people. Again, number 17, another curse of disobedience is a loss of fellowship with God and godly people. When I think about when I gave my life to God, y'all know I gave my life to God 20 years. Matter of fact, this Saturday gonna make 20 and a half years exactly that I gave my life to God. One of the things that shocked me when I made that transition, when I dedicated my life to God, was to the Lord. And I guess it's because I hadn't read my Bible. Had I read my Bible, it would have been expected. But because I hadn't really read the Bible all the way through that moment when I gave my life to God, and the short time afterwards, I hadn't read my Bible yet. One of the things that shocked me the most was the amount of friends I lost when I decided to start following the Lord wholeheartedly instead of doing the things that I was doing, instead of living for the world. It kind of shocked me. And, and I'm not talking about just, kind of random, how you have random people in your life that you come across. I'm talking about like ride or dies. You know what I'm saying? People that I spent significant amount of time with, sometimes on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? People like that, not just the random people that come in your life here and there and everywhere. I'm talking about people that I spent a lot of significant amount of time with before I gave my life to God. I had spent a lot of time with these people, and after I gave my life to God, now I barely see them. You know what I'm saying? And it's so strange because, I remember always being the life of the parties. Like when I went to the party, I remember always being the life of the party. Matter of fact, if I didn't show up at your party wasn't nothing. Now, I didn't go to every single party in the city, but you know what I'm saying? Using in our little group of people, or our little group of people that we associated with, like if you had a get together and Big John didn't show up, or it was Big Wop back then. If you had a get together and Big Wop didn't show up, then your party wasn't about nothing. It wasn't important enough for him to show up. But I remember always being the life of the parties. I remember always getting the invite to the party. Anytime somebody had a party, whether it's a party or a cookout or a hangout or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I always got the invites, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? Not anymore. I don't get them anymore. And like I said, it was so unexpected because I've always been such a, what people call a charismatic person or whatever. I always had a charismatic, a guy, or had a charismatic personality, and people always loved me being around. And people still love me being around now, but it's a different set of people, so to speak, which is what we're going to talk about today. You know what I'm saying? I was always funny. You know what I'm saying? I was funny. And the ladies loved me, and I was always able to, you know what I'm saying? And because I was always get people, some reason, I was always get people to kind of relax around me. If I was there, people just had this confidence like, oh, okay, everything's going to be cool. That's why people love hanging out in my house, because they knew it was going to be cool. I've never been one that attracted to negativity. I never like being around negativity. I don't like being around negative people, that kind of thing. And I always just bring positive energy with me. I don't believe in the vibes and stuff like they get into these new age people, but there is like certain energies that you put out. Like anytime you're doing God's work, you putting out God energy, which is positive energy. And if you're not, you're putting out evil and negative energy, which is going to attract other negative energy. So I've always put out that positive energy, even when I wasn't quite doing what I was supposed to be doing. I always had a negative energy, a positive energy that came with me, that always brought like a calm to the situation, and people was always able to relax, because I'm always myself. I've never been one to be fake. I'm always myself. I've always been open to whatever anybody want to talk about. And I think being like that, it helps other people open up as well and help them relax. So it always made the night go a little bit better. So that's why people love having me around, because I always brought, not that I was just so cool, I just always brought this relaxing atmosphere to wherever I was at. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is, I'm still that same guy. I'm still the same guy. I'm still funny. Now, I might not be as much of a ladies' man as I used to be, but that's only because I like living. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm married, and my wife is just like 4'9" Mexican that would cut my throat. And if she thought I was out there messing around, and I don't get down like that, and she don't get down like that, she don't play like that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I'm still the same guy. I'm still able to have conversations with females that's interested enough that women want to be in the conversation. That was more about, it used to be about other things, but it's about good things now. But I'm still able to hold interesting conversations with females that females love being involved in. So I'm still kind of a ladies' man, but not in that old bad way. That was old bad, John. Don't tell my wife that, because she'll cut my throat. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still the same guy. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm still the same, I'm still funny, I still can attract a crowd of females, you know what I'm saying, with good conversation or whatever. Because I remember Buddy told me conversation rule the nation. And he told me, they said, you can have a good conversation, man, you always have women around you. And that's true. And I can do that. So if I'm still the same funny guy, still the same charismatic guy, still the same ladies' man, what's the difference between now and then? That I no longer get invited to these parties. I no longer get invited to these hangouts and these gatherings. What's the difference? And the only thing that has changed between where I'm at now and where I was then is my closeness to the Lord. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that has changed. My relationship with the Lord has changed. I've got closer to the Lord, because you see, as you grow in your relationship with the Lord, as you grow the closer to the Lord, there's naturally going to be a separation there, and it was talked about. That's why it's hard when I see people that say they're saved, they say they're really trying to serve the Lord, and they still living their life the exact way they used to. It's hard to believe. I can't judge them. I don't know, because I can't see their heart. I can't judge them. But if I'm judging, you know what I'm saying? Jesus said you can tell a tree by its fruit. You know what I'm saying? A good tree ain't gonna bring forth good fruit, and a bad tree ain't gonna, a good tree ain't gonna bring forth bad fruit, and a bad tree ain't gonna bring forth good fruit. Jesus himself said that. So if I'm looking at their fruit, they don't look very fruitful. They look like the fruit that I would expect to be for a Christian, but I can't judge. I don't know where their heart is at. You see what I'm saying? But if you really serving the Lord, you really working on your relationship with the Lord, you're really trying to get close to the Lord, then there's naturally going to be a separation from old people, old places, and old things, which, of course, we've talked about that before. And see, Paul talks about that himself over in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Hold on one second. Throat and dry already. Paul talks about this in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, when he says this. He says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things have become new. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. So it makes sense that I don't like certain things no more because they're not of God. Now, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. That makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that there are certain movies that I no longer watch because they maybe have an evil element to it or something of that nature. Certain shows that I don't like to watch, I don't like to watch anymore. You know what I'm saying? I like one thing, I don't watch horror movies at all. And it ain't because I'm scared or nothing like that. I just don't watch horror movies, especially if it's something dealing with like demon possessions or like the Poltergeist or that one movie, The Nun, and you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. I don't watch that no more. Not only do I not watch it, I don't allow it in my house. Now, of course, the kids, they gonna try to do what they, if I'm not around anyway, but they know if I catch them watching some kind of horror movies in my house, then I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be pissed about it. Because I don't want that, because what you're doing, you're inviting that spiritual wickedness into your house. You invite it into your spirit. You know what I'm saying? You're inviting it in your house through the movies that you're watching and the shows that you're watching. So I've learned that because I've grown close to the Lord, I learned to be able to identify that and be like, you know what? I don't need to be watching this because I'm inviting the spiritual wickedness into my house. It's the same with like certain shows. If I get wind before I watch it that a certain show is coming out or a movie coming out gonna have a whole lot of gay stuff in it or transgender stuff in it, I'm not gonna watch it. And I'm not a homophobe or none of that. I'm not gonna watch it because I know it's gonna be, if that's in the movie, then it's gonna be filled with other foolishness throughout, and I'm not gonna subject myself to that, because that's what helps you get closer to God. That's what helps you be obedient. If you don't subject yourself to disobedience, whether it's you doing it or other people doing it as well, watching other people doing it, I stay away from those things. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like the Olympics. I didn't watch the Olympics this year. You know what I'm saying? I probably won't go watch it anyway. And usually I try to check in on a couple of events to see what the basketball team is doing, some of the gymnastics and stuff. I know Simone Biles, she was supposed to be having this big year and all that. So sometimes it's certain people that the story behind them is so, you know what I'm saying, so hyped up or whatever. I like, you know what, I want to see what they're going to do. But after that opening ceremony, with what they was, whether it was a pagan god they was paying homage to, which is what the excuse they're trying to use, or them mocking the Lord's Supper. If this gonna start off like that, I'm definitely not gonna put no time and energy into watching that, because the people behind it that allowed that happen, made the decision for it to happen, they're gonna benefit by me watching. And that's why that's my boycott. If it's something that I don't like, I remember I used to love the show Family Guy. Y'all probably heard me tell this story before. I used to love the show Family Guy. I used to love it. And y'all know Family Guy, if you watch the show, you know it's ratchet. It's a ratchet show, but they make fun of everybody. So you know what I'm saying? They equal opportunities making fun of us, except for everybody, just about nobody makes fun of Muslims or any of that, but they make fun about everybody. But they had this one episode. It was called the 2,000-year-old virgin, and they was making fun of Jesus. Like, I mean, if you watch it, it was straight black. It's a difference between making fun of and blaspheming. I felt that was blaspheming, because they basically had Jesus. If you never watched it, they basically had Jesus. Of course, he was a virgin because he's never sinned, and they had him and basically taking him on dates, kind of like that movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. They would send him on dates, trying to get him to, so he can finally get his first piece, so to speak. And then eventually, the person he ended up choosing was this guy, the main character named Peter, was his wife. And Peter was about, it's Jesus, so I guess I got to let him do it, kind of thing. And Peter was about to let him, hook up with his wife. And then Peter eventually stopped it. And then it turns out it was some scam that Jesus has been doing for 2,000 years. He claimed he a virgin so he can hook up with men's wives. I mean, just the whole, that is insane. And then, like, finally, once Preeti confronted him about it, he was just like, I don't know why y'all so upset. I'm not even real anyway. And then just walked off. So to me, again, that was blasphemy. And once that happened, I stopped not only watching Family Guy, anything that had to do with Seth MacFarlane, I stopped watching. So Family Guy, because I used to love Family Guy, American Guy, and it was a couple other shows they had. I haven't, since that day, since I saw the episode, I have not watched one thing that have him in it. If it's a movie that he's involved with, I don't watch it. You see what I'm saying? Because I felt I'm not going to bring that into my life. I separated myself from that. And when you get close to God, you would do that. When you see things that you know is not of God, whether it's shows or whatever, you know is not of God, you know there's going to be some ungodly things in it, it's going to be hard for you to watch that. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a separation there. Same with certain music. I don't really listen to certain music no more. Now, some of my old rap that I grew up on, I still listen to. But this new stuff, this new drill rap and trap and all that stuff, I don't really listen to it no more. Now, there's a couple of guys that seeped in because I grew up on before I gave my life to God. I still listen to the old stuff, but this new stuff, I don't listen to it at all. Matter of fact, most of any current rappers that I listen to is only like people like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, you know what I'm saying, people like that, people that actually have a message, and it ain't just talking about robbing and killing all the time. They actually talking about being smarter and making better decisions and things like that. You know, or what they would call country rap. That's mostly the kind of only watch the music that I listen to now, because it's the only thing that's not filled with just absolute filth. You know what I'm saying? There's certain places I don't go to no more. Like the bars. I can't go to a bar. I used to go to a bar, and I wasn't a drinker, but I would just go and hang out with my friends while they drank. I might have like one beer and some wings or something while I was there, but I've never been a drinker because and I told y'all because of my when I went through my uncle at a young age. So I've never been a drinker, but I wouldn't mind hanging out. Now I don't like being in situations where there's people drinking. You know what I'm saying? I went to I remember a few years ago, I went to a Titans game. I don't go to those no more. I went to a live Titans game instead of watching. I took my boys. I'm thinking like, man, it'd be great. And again, we've been to the Titans game before, never really paid attention to it. But now that I'm moving closer to God, and that's the thing, you get close to God, your eyes open up, you start seeing stuff you never paid attention to before because you were so deep in your sin. And I noticed, like, man, it was horrible. Like, we was going there, it was during 12, and there's people that was already, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and people that was already passed out drunk because they had been drinking all morning. This is Sunday morning because, they play football on Sunday. Sunday morning, you got people that get down there at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and set up whole campers and tailgate. And, you know what I'm saying, they won't get up and go to church, but they get up and go to a Titan game. And I like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this. And I had my boys with me, and I felt bad that I had brought my boys with me because there was drunk people all around and people getting excited and spilling beer everywhere, and it was just insane. And I haven't been to a game ever since. Now, if somebody give me a free pair of tickets, I might go if it's a game that I'm very interested in. But like, Green Bay coming to town or something like that, because that's my team, I might go check that out, maybe. But it'd have to be like my schedule. Everything had to line up perfectly. But I wouldn't buy no ticket to go down there anymore. I wouldn't do nothing like that. But if a friend like, hey man, I got some ticket, I really like you to go with me, I might go check it out. But I used to buy tickets to go down there. I would buy tickets to take my sons down there. Not doing it no more. You see what I'm saying? Because I've grown closer to God. So that's kind of what separates me from people. That's how you kind of like I say, there's a natural separation from people when you're being obedient, from people that's being disobedient. You know what I'm saying? And there's definitely certain people. Another one that I would go to the more strip clubs. Now I will say this, even as a young man, I never did really like strip clubs. I honestly shocked myself, and I'm not just saying that to be facetious. I honestly shocked myself with that, because I thought I would love that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh man, I would love that. Girls up there dancing naked and all that. I did not like it. Every time I've been to a strip club is simply because, again, following the crowd, and this is what my guys want to do, so I went with them. You know what I'm saying? Because we were hanging out, having fun, or whatever. But I've never once been like, you know what? I want to go to a strip club. Never been a strip club guy. And even when I went, I didn't really enjoy it, because I know the only reason why this girl is doing these things and taking the clothes off is because I'm getting the money. If I want to get her the money, she wouldn't be doing it. So to me, that's tricking. I just couldn't do it. I'm not going to pay you to take your money out, pay you my money to take your clothes off. Plus, I was too cheap for that anyway, so I never really could enjoy myself. So, you know what I'm saying? But again, I couldn't even do it to hang out with my boys. You know what I'm saying? If my boys like, hey man, let's get together and have a good old fashioned day like we used to. I couldn't even do it just to go hang out with them, because I can't do that no longer. There's no longer, it's no longer in me. There's that natural separation that Paul was talking about, that comes along with that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, there's definitely some people that I no longer hang around. There's some family members that I love dearly that I don't spend a lot of time with. You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard me talk about my brother. I love my brother to death. I don't hang out with him as much as I used to. I don't talk to him as much as I used to. A lot of time, the only time I'm really hanging out or doing anything with him is when I'm trying to help him out of a situation or something, which I don't do that as often no more because he's hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely some family members and friends that I no longer hang out with. So again, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things I'm no longer comfortable with doing. You know what I'm saying? The stuff I used to love to do back in the day. I used to love, one of my favorite things to do was riding around smoking weed and listen to the radio. I used to love, man, especially on a nice day with a cool breeze blowing and you can just let the windows down, bake the car out and then let the windows down and just ride to your music. I used to love doing that. And I remember the last time I was with somebody, I wasn't smoking, but they were. And I remember, I was so scared. It was so weird because, like I said, I used to do it all the time. But I would ride with this girl and she was smoking and she was just kind of swerving on the road and she was like rolling while she was driving. She was driving with her knee and rolling and everything. And I was, remember, like I said, this is stuff I have done before in the past, never thought of it. But I just was thinking like how much trouble I can get in and how bad this could go, man. It's just like, it was scary. I wasn't comfortable in that situation no more. Even though I had did it a million times in the past, I was no longer comfortable in the same situation because since that last time I had did it, I had grown a lot closer to God. So again, I understand, back when I go back to what Paul said, I can understand about that separation. You know, it's understandable that, that godly people will not congregate with people that's openly enjoying sin. So that's when you put that verse with there, it's understandable, but that's not the only way, you know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily just me separating from myself from them because I'm better than them, that kind of thing, and they're in disobedience. No, that's not the only way that disobedience separates you from God or from godly people. You know what I'm saying? There's actually twofold. You know what I'm saying? That separation from God and godly people is actually twofold. Now, again, there is a matter of godly people separating themselves from a situation like I've been talking about, separating themselves from old people, old places, old things. That happens, that happens as well. But not only do you separate yourself from them, they actually separate themselves from you as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's twofold. When you start getting closer to God, you're going to separate yourself from them, but also people are going to separate themselves from you. See, not all it's not all you just, like I said, it's not all you just separate yourself because you think you're better than everybody else. And that's what they always like to try to accuse you of. Oh, you too good to hang out with us now. You too good to do this and do that. No, that ain't, I'm too good. It's just, I know that's foolish. I know they can end bad. And I'm not trying to be down with that. That's not how I don't roll like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you do have that separation where you do that, but also people separate themselves from that. You know what I'm saying? People will actually, the closer you get to God, the more people, the people that lives in sin, that openly practice sin or disobedience or whatnot, they will actually stop coming around you. It's not even necessarily, it ain't always that you're going to stop going around them. They will stop coming around you. You know what I'm saying? I've heard people use the term before, like godly people, like, well, it's because, my spirit is so strong, I'm so godly, and my spirit so strong, it's irritating their demons. And it's not true I guess it is some truth to that, but what it really is the closer you get to God, the more your light shines, the more the light of God. Because, Jesus talked about being the light of the world, letting it shine, not putting it under the bucket, putting it under the bucket, you know what I'm saying? Man won't light a candle and then put it in the bucket. No, he'll let it shine. So the closer that you get to God, and again, if you're serious about your relationship with God, you're serious about being close to God, the closer you get to God, the more light is going to be within you, the more light is going to shine, the more you're going to let that light shine. You know what I'm saying? You can't help but letting that light shine. You know what I'm saying? And people that live in darkness hate that. You know what I'm saying? Because it illuminates the evils that they do. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? I remember when I was younger, the house we lived in used to be full of roaches. It was full of roaches. So if you got up in the middle of the night and you need to go to the kitchen to grab a cup of water, you know what I'm saying? When you cut the light on, like it was so many roaches that it looked like the furniture got up and moved because everything from top to bottom would be covered in roaches. And then you cut the lights on, they scatter. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing happens when you go around people, when you are somebody that's really being close to God, and somebody, and you're really trying to serve the Lord, have a close walk with the Lord, you walk with the Lord every day. When you go around people that live in darkness, they scatter. They don't want to be around you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not necessarily your spirit is irritating demons. I feel like a sneeze coming on. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. Let somebody say bless you. I hate when I sneeze, somebody say bless you. But again, it's not necessarily that your spirit is irritating demons. It's your light shining on their darkness. And with your light shining and showing them the things that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like people, if they're drinking, they can't stand to be around somebody that's not drinking. Now, if you say, oh, normally I would drink, but I'm a designated driver, then they cool with that. But if you just like, I don't drink, they just like, it's like they don't even want to be around you. They don't know how to interact with you because all their interaction is based upon them drinking and you're not drinking. So they just feel weird and really they feel ashamed. It's their guilty conscience that's bothering them. And it's not that you're doing anything to them. It's not that you're saying you didn't judge them about their drinking, but they judging themselves and they're projecting on you. Oh, you judging me. Look at me. No, I ain't looking at you. Do what you do. I used to drink. I used to smoke. I can't say nothing. But the fact that I'm not doing it now, it irritates people and people don't want that around. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said earlier, I'm the same dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm the same dude I used to be, but I don't get invited to the same stuff like I used to. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because it ain't like I go to a party or get together and I walk in with my Bible, and you know what I'm saying, the Bible in one hand and another hand full of tracts. Now don't put it past me. It ain't something that I wouldn't do, but you know what I'm saying? But I don't do that. I don't walk in with a Bible in one hand and a handful of tracts and start, pointing out people's sins. That's not what I do. You know what I'm saying? Calling them sinners and telling them they gonna go to hell. I don't do that. Matter of fact, a lot of times when I go to get-togethers, man, I don't bring God, especially if it's like a social situation, like people celebrating and all that. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's not the time they be talking about God or trying to share the gospel. Now, every once in a while, I might get over in the corner or get out by myself. Like I said, I'm not. That's not really my thing. So if I'm kind of sitting somewhere at the end of on a couch or something with my bottle of water, everybody else out mingling, somebody might come over and sit down and want to have a conversation with me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe ask me why I'm drinking. Now, if that happens, I'm having a personal conversation, God was likely going to come up. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to come up. But I don't, it's usually if they bring it up. If they ask me the wrong question, so to speak, then they bring it up. But I don't just go at people trying to preach to them while they at parties, celebrating and all that. You know what I'm saying? So why don't I get invited, anymore? Because again, people that know me know I represent the Lord. So the fact that they know that, oh, he's a preacher or, he reads the Bible every day, all that, they just don't want to be around it because they want to live in their sin and they don't want to feel judged. And again, I'm not judging them, but it's really their own conscience that's messing with them. You know what I'm saying? It's not that, like I said, anybody know me knows that I'm in the Bible. You know, so I remember this one situation and kind of what I'm talking about. I remember when I first started my old job, I worked at this place called Test America. And before I worked there, when I first started, I didn't know anybody there. I was the only one there. Now, eventually, I made a lot of friends, still family. We still hang out to this day. But I remember for the first few months, before I started really getting to know anybody, and eventually one of my best friends, he came and started working there with me, and he kind of helped me get, socialized or whatever. But before I started, really knowing anybody, what I would do for my breaks, since I didn't know anybody, I didn't have nobody to spend my break with, my break time with, I would just go sit in the break room and read the Bible. That's what I would do. I would just go sit in the break room and read the Bible. And of course, people would come by and see that. So they wouldn't mess with me. And I'll never forget one time we finally had a party, and this was still in my weed smoking days. So they finally had a get together and they invited me, and I went to the get together, and man, we had a ball. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was like I said, I was still smoking at that time, and I was still me. And I never get the lady. She said, man, she's like, yeah, I thought you was a lame or a square. She said, I never would have thought you'd be this cool, you know what I'm saying, when you reading your Bible every day. You know what I'm saying? She said, I thought you was just some lame square dude. I said, man, look, I'm still me. I just understand that I need to build my relationship with the Lord as well. And the only way I can do that by reading my Bible. So if I got some opportunity to spend some time in my Bible, I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And me and her became really cool too today. I love her to death. Good friend of mine. But I remember her saying that. But she like, that's what she said, that's why I never really invited you anywhere. I didn't think this would be your kind of party because you read your Bible every day. So you see, she saw me shining my light and she like, well, I know we're going to be dwelling in some darkness, so I'm not going to go and invite him in there. So you see, it's not that I'm going to come in judging them or like I said, preaching at them and putting my finger at them. It's the fear, is the fear of me pointing out their disobedience. They don't think I'm going to come in and, oh, he's a preacher, so if I drink around, he's going to say something about it. If I curse around, he's going to say something about it, something like that. It's the fear of me pointing out that disobedience for keeping them for wanting to be around me. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because my obedience keeps me from, you know what I'm saying, hanging around with people or spending time with people that's living in disobedience, and their disobedience keep them from hanging around people or spending time around people that's trying to be righteous. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a weird little dynamic there. So that's why I say, being disobedient keeps you away from God and godly people. Because of that, you know what I'm saying? Godly people ain't gonna want to be around you. In reality, you ain't gonna want to be around godly people. It ain't, like I said, it ain't just the godly people being snooty, like, oh, I'm not gonna hang out. No, you're not gonna want to be around them as well, because you don't want that light that they have coming off of them shining into your darkness. You want to be able to stay in the dark. And you know what I'm saying? This what it say, men love the dark because the deeds were evil. You want to be able to stay in that dark, and you know what I'm saying, not have that light shine in there to show what you're doing. And that's a lot of time what happens when you're around godly people and you doing ungodly things. You start to feel bad about it. Again, not that godly person judged you. It's just that you seeing it yourself. It's your own shame and your own guilty conscience that got you doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing that keep a lot of people out of church. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, oh, well, I don't go to church because when I go, I feel like I'm being judged. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody don't even know what you're doing. This your own guilty conscience that got you feeling like that, feeling like you being judged. Because unless you say what you're doing, then how are they going to know what you're doing? You see what I'm saying? That's your own guilt. Nobody going to judge you. Now, I've heard situations where there have been churches where, you know, somebody maybe had tattoos or something and the people got all over. And that's rare. That don't normally happen in church, because especially with the membership in churches been down so lately, people just happen to have people in there. And if it's a good church, they don't care what you look like, what you got going on. They want you in there because that's what you're supposed to go if you're sick. But that's what sin is a sickness. You know what I'm saying? Disobedience is a sickness. So if you're sick, they want you to be in there, and hopefully they can say something that'll help you get over the illness that you're going through and get you to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So I have heard that, but a lot of times they claim they feel judged because that's their guilty conscience. Because maybe the preacher get to preaching and he preaching on the exact. I've heard several people say this, that I ain't been in church forever, and sat down, the preacher started preaching and he preached about exactly what I was doing or exactly what I was going through at that moment. See what I'm saying? It ain't the preacher knew you and like, oh, knew he was coming. Let me put this sermon together about this person. I know they're gonna be here. No, that's your guilty conscience. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time that happens and it keeps people out of church. I remember this one time, you know, this guy in this church when I was at Murfreesboro. This guy came, young guy. He was a white boy, but man, he was thuggish. he was a little thug. He was a little rough around the corner. You know, one getting into fights and stuff all the time. And I remember he started working on the bus route that I was working on. And the bus route I was working on, we used to go from Murfreesboro. We used to go down to the projects in Nashville and pick kids up. That's actually what really started me to start my soul winning in Nashville, because that's what we did. We used to go down to Nashville and pick the kids up, bring them up to church, and take them back home. And this guy started working on the route, and he worked on the route with us for a few months. And man, he was on fire. And he's like, oh man, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be faithful to this and this. And I remember he was making all these proclamations. And I remember my bus captain told him, like, hey man, you need to, you know, calm down. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're sprinting, but serving the Lord is a marathon. There's going to be some stuff that's going to pop up. You don't want to make all these brash promises that you can't keep up with. You know what I'm saying? That you can't, to make promises that you can't keep. So like, you need to, you know, calm yourself down or whatever. Oh no, man, I never give, blah, blah, blah. And then a few months later, I don't know what happens. Me and him weren't close enough to know the details, but a few months later, him and his wife end up getting divorced. You know what I'm saying? And his wife no longer wanted to come to church. And his wife had got involved in some of the women's group, and he got involved, like I said, in the bus route in some of the men group. And then once they divorced, he was so ashamed about it, he just stopped. Like, he came to church like by himself, like once or twice, and then after that, didn't see him no more. Never came back to church again. It wasn't because nobody judged him. Nobody told, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I don't know the reason. I don't know if he cheated or she cheated or they just weren't getting along. I don't know what happened that brought on the divorce, but I know they got divorced. And because of the divorce, he felt that he could no longer come to the church. And I remember him telling me that. I said, bro, they don't judge people like that, because it was a good church. I'm like, man, they don't care about that, bro. Like, you've been a faithful worker since you've been here. You know, they would love to have you there, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You never know. Things might work out. Don't quit the church. You never know. Things might work out with you and your wife. But I never get like, no, man, I can't see myself being here. And he left the church, and because of his shame of getting a divorce. Nobody never said nothing to him. Nobody never looked at him a funky way because he got divorced. It was his own guilty conscience that did that. And that's what separates us from God. Because when we do stuff we know we're not supposed to be doing, we don't want to be in the presence of God, and we don't want to be around godly people because it's going to constantly remind us of that sin. Is that light going to come and shine in our darkness, and it's going to make it uncomfortable for us to be in our darkness, and that's where we like to dwell at. You see what I'm saying? Because you see, living in sin or being disobedient, you're not going to want to be around God or godly people. You see what I'm saying? And that's why this curse right here is so horrible. That's what makes it so horrible, because really it's literally the definition of hell. Because what is hell? If you think about what is hell, hell is separation from God. You know what I'm saying? Eternal separation from God. That's what hell is. The whole point of hell is eternal separation from God. You know what I'm saying? In God, you got no love, you got peace, and you got light. In hell, you got chaos, you got the chaos, and you got drama, and you got darkness. And that's what you in, darkness. So this curse here really puts you in hell. You know what I'm saying? By being rebellious, being disobedient, it really literally puts you in hell. That's what it is, because hell is a separation from God, and that's exactly what disobedience does. It's separation from God and from godly people. Because think about it. Let's go back to the very first. I'm sorry, y'all. My nose has been itching. And I know I'm trying not to scratch it too much, but it's been itching me since I've been talking. But let's go back. Think about it. Let's go back to the very first sin, the original sin. What happened to the original sin? God told Adam and Eve, told Adam not to touch the fruit or eat the fruit. Eve went out there, the serpents tricked her and whatnot. She ate the fruit, gave some to her husband. And when they did that, their eyes was open, they realized they was naked. So then it says what happened. Well, you know, the story says then God came, you know what I'm saying, for his normal stroll through the garden with his people, and he came and they went out to nowhere to be found. Now you can tell it was an unusual situation because God like, where they at? He's never had to search for them before. Most likely, you know what I'm saying, as soon as he got there, they was waiting, just like, you know what I'm saying, how you know, if you're a single person, you got a dog, or you got cats, as soon as you get home, your pet's waiting there for you at the door. You know what I'm saying? You never had to search for them. And if you did have to search for them, you knew it was something wrong. They was probably somewhere doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. So that's what happened with God. God like, hey, where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? And what was they at? Hiding. You see what I'm saying? Where normally they just come out and take their little evening stroll with God, no big deal. This time they was hiding. Why? Because that disobedience has separated them from God. And see, that's what it does. It separates them from God. So then not only did it make them separate themselves from God, did it make God separate from them as well, because what he ended up doing? Kicking them out of the garden. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Kicking them out of the garden. They eventually got kicked out of the garden. And of course, you know, the garden is a picture of heaven. So they got kicked out of heaven and they had to go and work the land. They had it easy. They had it peaceful. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even have to really work. You know what I'm saying? God built, he built this earth to be a utopia. And they lost all of them because of disobedience. So it separated them. It's made them separate themselves from God, and then it made God separate from them. So you see both elements, the twofold element. You see where they separate themselves from God first because they realized they was disobedient, and then you see where God had to separate himself from them as well, and that's why he kicked them out of the garden. You see what I'm saying? So again, they was no longer, because of that disobedience, they was no longer to be in his presence. And again, what is hell? Separation from God. You know what I'm saying? And eventually they got kicked out and they were separated from God. They were no longer allowed to be in his presence because of their sin. Think about the angels, Lucifer and the rest of the angels that rebelled. You know what I'm saying? Say he rebelled and he took a third of the angels with him. Think about that. What happened to them? They got kicked out of heaven. They were no longer allowed to be in the presence of God. And that's what hell is. And that's what disobedience does. It puts you in hell. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say the wages of sin is death. Disobedience puts you in hell. And that's why I say this is one of the worst curses, because it separates you from God and godly people. What did Saul say? Please come with me. What did Samuel say? I will not return with you. I can't roll with you. You being disobedient. I'm not trying to be with you. I'm not trying to get caught up in the same. How many people y'all know got caught in the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong people? And they end up being punished, or something bad happened to them because they was rolling with the people that they know that normally did bad stuff, people they shouldn't have been around in the first place. I remember my oldest son got in trouble because he wanted to hang out with some people that I told him not to hang out with, but he was just bound and determined to hang out with them anyway, and he ended up getting in some trouble. Trouble that he still, to this day, that was like 6 years ago, and he's still dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? Because he was hanging out with the wrong people. So, you know what I'm saying? So when the Lucifer and he took the third of the angels and they rebelled against God, what happened? They got kicked out. Matter of fact, the whole reason hell was created was for them, or the Lucifer and his angels. You see what I'm saying? That's why hell exists, because that's what hell is a separation from God and hell. And you know what I'm saying? And you can look all through the Bible, and it gives instances where these angels were separated from God. They're in hell. Matter of fact, you go over to 2 Peter. I wrote a couple of them down. 2 Peter, there's more of them. But 2 Peter chapter 2. I didn't have time to mark my pages, so y'all gonna have to deal with me flipping through. Normally I mark it so I can go straight to it, and I look all professional like. But I didn't have time to do that today. I run a little behind as usual, and I want to get the focus more on this. But let's see, 2 Peter. Here we go. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 4. He says this. He says, chapter 2 verse 4 says, "For God denies it." In their greed, they will, I'm starting verse 3, saying, in their greed, they will make up clever lies to get a hold of your money. But God condemned them long ago, and their destruction is on the way. For God did not spare even the angels when they sinned. He threw them into hell in gloomy caves and darkness until the judgment day. And the King James Version says, "For God, if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved to the judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly." You see what I'm saying? So all this death and destruction has happened because people were being disobedient, and God had to separate himself from them. They separated themselves from God, and God ended up separating himself from them. Another one was talks about the angels is Jude chapter 1 verse 6. I think it's only one chapter in Jude. Yes, Jude is only one chapter, but Jude or chapter 1 verse 6 is talks about that again. He says, "And the angels which kept," here you go, "and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day." See there? They're still in everlasting chains. See, that their disobedience separated them from God. Now, these are angels, and that's the point of me pointing out these verses, because these are angels, which means at some point, they were in the presence of God. It ain't like us, where we can feel the presence of God, and, you know what I'm saying, and pray, and all. They was actually literally in God's presence, and they're no longer there because of disobedience. And see, that's what disobedience does. Like I said, and where they at? They're locked away in bottomless pits and things like that, and locked away in hell because of their disobedience. And there was one more over in Revelation 9:14. It talks about it as well. Revelation chapter 9, verse 14, and it kind of mentions these angels. And I'm reading the King James Version because it just kind of goes along with what I'm talking about. But it says in Revelation 9:14, it says, "Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay a third part of men." These are men that they was bound in the Euphrates River. So again, we see how these angels that was literally in the presence of God. We see Adam and Eve that was literally was walking. They was walking with God. They was talking with God. They was so pure in spirit, you know what I'm saying, and so innocent at that time that they was able to be in God's presence. But one little bout of disobedience separated them from all that. And that's what disobedience does. And like again, what is hell? Separation from God. So that's what disobedience does. That's what sin does. That's why it sends you to hell, because you can't be in the presence of God and you're living in disobedience. You know what I'm saying? There was another situation over in Exodus chapter 33. I'm going to go over there real quick. With the Israelites, you know, the Israelites were God's chosen people, but there was a situation that came up because they were so hard-headed that God was like, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't even be with them because they were so rebellious. At this point, they had did the whining and complaining because they didn't have food to eat because they was going through the wilderness, and they kept on trying to make themselves leaders to go back to the Egypt and all kind of stuff. And God, at one point, God and Moses was talking, and Moses was telling the Lord, like, man, Lord, I ain't going to go if you ain't going to come with me. And look what God responded. He said, "And the Lord said to Moses, depart and go up hence, thou and the people which thou hast brought up out of the land of Egypt, unto the land which I swear unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, unto thy seed will I give it. and I would send an angel before thee, and I would drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Hebusite, and the Perizzite, the Hebusite, and all that, until a land flowing with milk and honey. For I would not, here we go in verse 3, for I would not go up in the midst of thee, for thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I consume thee in the way. And I read the New Living so you can understand what he just said. He said, the Lord said to Moses, the blah, blah, blah. He said, I'm going to read verse 3. He said, but I will not travel along with you, for you are a stubborn, unruly people. If I did, I would be tempted to destroy you along the way. So again, because of their hard-headedness, because of their stubbornness, because of their unwillingness to follow God's will, God said, I can't even go. He said, I'm going to send my angel, but I can't go with you. Because of the hard-headed, it's going to get on my nerve. It's just like me being around bad kids. I can't be around bad kids. I don't want to whoop the butt. So if I know going to be some bad kids involved, I'll try not to be involved in that, because I'm going to want to whoop the butt. And that's what God's saying. Like, y'all so bad, y'all so rebellious, y'all so disobedient that I can't roll with you. Like, I would love to go with you. I would love to dwell in the midst of you, but I can't, because I'm going to be tempted to destroy you. You know, I'm going to be tempted to destroy you because of your disobedience. In other words, so God, once again, we see what God had to separate himself from those people because of their disobedience. And that's what disobedience does. It separates you from God. You see what I'm saying? It separates you from God. You know what I'm saying? And there was a situation, another situation where I can't remember. I didn't have enough time to look up the prophet, but you can look him up, and that way you get some Bible in. But there was one time this prophet had a vision, and he was talking about the end time. And this was Israel after they had been established as the king for a while, and they got into, they was having the bad kings come in, and they had got into the idol worship. And he had a vision, and he saw, you remember the pillar of cloud that traveled with them when they was going through the wilderness. He saw that pillar of cloud, and God gave this great proclamation about the sin that they had been doing and the punishment that was going to come along. And then it said the pillar of cloud just left. You know what I'm saying? And if you read it, the context of it, like he was angry and he had to get out of there because they had been so disobedient. So again, we saw where they lost their grace. Even Jesus himself, and this is something you got to think about. This is how big it is. Even Jesus himself had a moment where him and God were separated. Because, all his whole life, you know what I'm saying, and of course before life, he had always been with God, but there was only one moment in the history of time, of existence, that Jesus was separated from God, and that's when he was on the cross dying for our sins. Now, it wasn't for his disobedience, so don't get it twisted. It ain't for his disobedience, but he said he became sin. So he can, so he can forgive us of our sins. Jesus became sin. So it wasn't because of his disobedience that he was separated from God. It was actually because of ours, because he was taking our sins upon himself. And that moment when he became sin, even though he was God's son, even though he was God himself, God in the flesh, God, his father, God the Father could not look upon him. You know what I'm saying? That was the only time when he was on that cross. And shit, that's why he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That was the first time in his entire existence, which was from the beginning, that he was not able to feel the presence of God. And the reason why he couldn't feel the presence of God, because God couldn't look upon him, because he had became sin. Yeah, again, it wasn't of his own doing. It was because he was becoming sin for us. But that's just how bad disobedience is. It's separation from God. If disobedience can separate Jesus from God, imagine what it's doing for us. It's definitely going to separate us from God. So you see, that's what obedience does. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it does with your relationship with God. It separates you. It keeps you from having a relationship with God, and it keeps you from having a relationship with godly people. And sometimes it puts you in a situation. If you're being disobedient, it actually puts you in a situation when you can't be around God and godly people, and you want to, but you can't. Just imagine, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in prison. Now, you might still be able to go to church, because I know I went and preached in the jails for a little while, you know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, it's not a lot of godly people in there. And if there are godly people in there, it's because they've separated themselves from God as well. You know what I'm saying? You're in prison or something like that, or in the hospital, where because you had a wreck, because you got drinking and driving, or you got shot because you're doing something stupid or whatever, try to rob somebody, got shot. You might want to be around God at that time, but you can't because of the situation. We think about there was a situation where Moses' sister, she kind of got the big head. Moses' sister, Moses had a sister named Miriam, who was a prophetess, and then of course we know his brother Aaron as well. So one day they got the bright idea, like, well, we in the same family as Moses. We as brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? We should be able to get the same property that Moses getting, basically. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't confront Moses. Why is you taking it upon yourself to take all the glory, so to speak? You know what I'm saying? And God got upset about it. Like, man, I talked to Mama. He said, he said, all the other prophets, I talked to them in dreams and, you know what I'm saying, visions. He said, I talked to Moses. Moses, my friend. I talked to him face to face. Were you not ashamed to come before him? And he said, because of that, he struck Miriam with leprosy. And you know what I'm saying? And he struggled with leprosy. And Moses had to get on his face and pray for her. Lord, please don't do this to her. And what the Lord says, he said, had her father spit in her face, would she not be kicked out of the camp for 7 days? So she need to be kicked out of the camp for 7 days. After 7 days, I heal her, she can come back. So for 7 days, she can go. And she was a prophetess. Excuse me, y'all. I had some lunch earlier and they're trying to come back up on me. So for 7 days, she was a prophet, so she couldn't go and worship the Lord like she wanted to. She could be in the camp with the people because the outside the camp, they were for the outcasts, people that was lepers and you know what I'm saying, any kind of have the people that was defiled and things like that. They couldn't come into the camp. They couldn't be where God's people was at. They had to be separated from it, and that's what happened to Miriam because she wanted to. Felt that Moses was getting too much of the credit or whatever, and she wanted some of it, and God struck her down with leprosy. So you see, because of her disobedience, she couldn't be around God. Now, you know she wanted to be in the camp. She wanted to be back in her position, but she couldn't for 7 days because she was being disobedient. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with Joseph when he was sold into slavery. Now again, Joseph wasn't the one that was disobedient that separated him from God. It was his brother's disobedience that separated him from God. Their jealousy because of their laziness that separated them from God. But if you look at Joseph when he was there and he was talking to the guy like, man, I got taken away from my people and my God. That's what hurt him the most. He's like, man, I can't worship. I'm in this land of idols. You know what I'm saying? These people, this Pharaoh, they worshiping the sun god and Horus and Iris and whatever the other gods. I'm not here with I don't have nobody around me that I can worship my God with. I'm stuck in this pagan land with all these other fake gods. That's what hurt his heart the most. You know what I'm saying? It was the same with Samson when he was hiding from the Philistines because he had been disobedient and he was trying to hook up with that Philistine girl he knew he wasn't supposed to. And then, of course, you know, he went back and forth with war with them. And eventually he couldn't stay at home. He had to go and hide in caves and stuff. Now, he was a judge. So that might mean he's supposed to be the spiritual leader of the people. And he couldn't even go lead the people because he was hiding in cages because of his disobedience. You see what I'm saying? So that's what disobedience does. It separates you from God, whether it's because of your own action or it puts you in a situation where you can't even be around God. Same thing happened with David. Y'all remember what David had sex with Bathsheba, and then, of course, the Lord told him he would have to pay for that, and he ended up getting kicked. His own son ended up running him out of his home. You remember when he was leaving, what did he say? He said, maybe the Lord will bring me back into his temple once again. See, he was hurt. He wanted to be in the temple. He wanted to be where God was at. He wanted to be in the land where he knew God was at. He wanted to be there worshiping God, but he couldn't. His sin took him away from that. His disobedience took him away from that. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you got to understand. That's what disobedience does in your life. It separates you from God. And y'all remember I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Because you're that separation from God, you don't have that grace. You don't have that wall of protection. You know what I'm saying? You don't have accountability. All these things, it comes because of the separation that comes from God because of disobedience. And that's why it's so important to stay away from the disobedience. But like I said, it's separation from God, which is literally hell. That's the very definition of hell, is separation from God. And that's why sin leads you there. You know what I'm saying? That's why sin leads you there. And eventually, that disobedience is going to lead you to death. Because I said, I quoted earlier, it says the wages of sin is death. So you stay on that disobedient path, you stay doing those things that you know you're not supposed to be doing, then you can't do nothing but expect the death to be at the end of that road you're waiting on. And that's what disobedience does, and that's why it's so important for you to be obedient. That's why it's so important for you to have that relationship with God, have that walk with God. Don't be like Adam and Eve. They was walking with God every day, and because of disobedience, when God came, God couldn't even find them. Why? God didn't, well, I can't say, I don't know. It don't give an indication that he didn't know they had already did it. But I know when he came looking for them, we're like, where they at? Why are they not here? Normally they here waiting for me. I went, where they at? Because they separate themselves from God. And then because they separate themselves from God because of disobedience, God had to separate himself from them. So whether it's, so either way it happens, disobedience brings separation from God and godly people. Again, godly people are not going to want to be around you if you're always acting a fool, doing stuff you know you're not supposed to be doing. And on the same breath, you're not going to want to be around godly people if you know you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? That's what you got to understand. So if you want to live a life in closeness with God, if you want to live a life that's not separate from God, you know what I'm saying, which is hell, if you want to be able to live in heaven, you want to live in the goodness of God, you want to live under the peace of God, then you got to live a life of obedience. Because another curse of disobedience is separation from God and godly people. You're not going to be around God if you're being disobedient, and godly people are not going to want to be around you neither. And you're not going to want to be around them because, again, their light is going to shine in your darkness, and you love that darkness, so you're going to stay away from that light. And if you stay away from that light, then you might mess around. If you stay away from that light too long, and you never know that life cord gets snipped before you get back to that light, then you might end up in eternal darkness, which is hell. And again, that's exactly what hell is. It's eternal separation from God. That's what hell is. That's everything that heaven is. Hell is the opposite. Heaven is worship and closeness with God. It's oneness with God. It's living in the life of God. It's living in the peace of God. And hell is the opposite of that. It's living in total darkness. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you being with your loved ones, you're by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you having peace, you have chaos. You have darkness. That's what hell is. And that's what you do. You're only putting yourself on that path to go to hell if you're living a life of disobedience. So again, if you want to be close to God, you want to make sure you avoid hell, then you need to start being obedient to God's word and doing the things that God's word say. Because again, disobedience, curse of disobedience is separation from God and godly people. So that's it tonight, y'all. A little bit of a short lesson. See, I ain't take that long. I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want to prolate, but I did want to bring that point up, and you got to understand that. You know what I'm saying? We see where Saul got in a situation, disobedient. Now he's lost the favor of God. He's about to lose the favor of God. He's lost his friendship with Samuel because up until the end, him and Samuel, they was boys. You know, Samuel was the one anointing him. But he lost all that because he chose to be disobedient. And the same will happen with you. You'll lose God's grace. You'll lose that closeness. You're not going to be able to serve God and be disobedient at the same time. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to choose one or the other. And I hope you choose the right one, especially after hearing this lesson tonight and hearing what disobedience does and how it separates you from God and his grace. I pray that you'll make the right decision to be obedient so you can have that closeness and you can avoid those traps of the devil, the wiles of the devil, and avoid that hell, living in that hell, living in that darkness because you want to live closer to the light. So that being said, that's it for tonight, y'all. I want to bring that little lesson to you. As always, I'm going to end with my finishing announcements. Of course, if there's anything in particular that you want me to cover that I haven't already covered in the story, I haven't covered already, please reach out to me and let me know. No, I was kind of working in my lesson. Now, Lord willing, next week, like I told y'all, this is my fasting week because my birthday is this Saturday. So, so Lord willing, next month when we come back, I'll be a year older. And what I always do around my birthday, my spiritual birthday and my physical birthday, I take a week off from work, do a lot of fasting and praying, and then I always like to do a sermon, preach a sermon at the church in the actual church. So if you're in the Waverly this Sunday night at 6:30, I will be preaching at the church this Sunday. But if you can't make it, I want y'all to make it. Don't just be lazy and just wait for me doing Monday. But if you can't make it Sunday night, I will bring that same lesson this Monday. So next Monday, I'll step away from this series here just for a week, and I'll present the whatever lesson I do with the Sunday night at the church, or whatever sermon I bring Sunday night at the church. Lord willing, next Monday at 7 o'clock, I will bring that lesson for y'all next Monday at 7 o'clock. So that's Lord willing, that's the plan for next Monday. But again, if there's anything in particular I haven't covered already, y'all want me to work into the lesson plan, reach out to me and let me know. Keep sharing the videos, tell other people about the videos, tag people in the videos. I never make it private. It's always public. I want this word to get out. I hope it's helping people, and I'm hoping there's people in your world that you know that need the help, need the lesson. So tag them in and feel free to share, do whatever you want to do. I don't care who gets the credit for it and all that. I just want to get this word out there to help the people. And as always, if you're not 100% sure about your salvation, you got to reach out to me and let me know, and I will work that into my I will set up some time. If you're not 100% sure, if you go through that door called death, you get to see Jesus on the other side. Reach out to me and let me know. I will set up some time to go over the gospel with you and tell you what you need to know so that you may be able to accept Jesus Christ your Savior and avoid that eternal separation from Him in hell. Because again, that's exactly what hell is. And if you need any kind of spiritual counseling, got any kind of questions or things of that nature, make sure you reach out to me and let me know. Inbox me or something like that, and let me know, and I will set some time together aside and see if we can work something out where I can talk with you and share whatever little wisdom the Lord has given me. I will share it with you. And as always, If you like that lesson tonight, this is your first time watching, and this lesson touched your heart, and you want to go back to the whole series, the easiest way to do it is go to my YouTube page, youtube.com, God's Service / Lost Sheep Ministry. Type it in just like that, and it'll take you to my channel. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can also scroll up and down my Facebook page, because I never really delete these lessons. But the easiest way to do it is go to my YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe and like the videos, and that way every time I post one, you can always catch it, especially if it's a part of a series as well. That's the easiest way to do it. So again, with that being said, I'm going to give y'all a few extra minutes back tonight. It's funny, my birthday is August 17. I'm ending on August 8/17. So that must be a sign that it's time for me to get my booty out of here. But I hope y'all are having a good night. I hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. And I hope y'all are seeing, as we're going through the series, I hope you're really seeing the importance of obedience, and the importance of staying in obedience and staying away from disobedience, because of the blessing that come from the obedience and the curse that come from the disobedience. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pray and get out of here. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thank you so much for shining your love and grace down upon us. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to get into your word. Thank you for this lesson that I was able to bring to the people tonight, to help them see how important disobedience, how important obedience is, and help them see what happens with the disobedience, Lord. Help them see that the disobedience actually separates them from you. That's what separated Adam and Eve from you when they had a close walk with you in the garden. That's what separated Lucifer and all his angels from you, Lord. That's what separates us all from you because of disobedience. And if we just get away from that disobedience, get to obedience, you can have a close walk with you on a daily basis. It won't be hard for us to do. It won't be hard for us to read our Bible every day. It won't be hard for us to pray every day. It won't be hard for us to go sow. And it won't be hard for us to be in the church every time the doors are open, because we're not ashamed of being around you, because we know we've been doing the things that you have told us to do to the best of our ability anyway. Nobody's perfect, but most people won't even try. You know, Lord, so I pray that as they listen to these lessons tonight, I pray that they will, the heart will come under conviction of there's some disobedience in their lives that they need to get away from. I pray they'll be motivated to do so, Lord. And I pray that everybody that's listening to this lesson tonight will have a closer walk with you after this lesson, because of this lesson, hearing these words tonight, and the wisdom, hearing the wisdom in these words tonight, and the seed being planted in your heart. I pray you continue to watch over us all, be with the ministry, Lord. Continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out to the community, change the lives of others, capture lost souls of men. Be with me and my family. Continue to keep us safe and protected, and give us the encouragement we need to do this work. Keep your healing hands upon my wife. She's still struggling with this health issue that she's had for the last few weeks, Lord. And it has kind of slowed the ministry down a little bit, but it ain't stopped it. And don't plan on that happening, Lord. And I just like you that she should have support. She know that I can't keep an eye on her like I can, like I would like to. But my daughter is, you gave me a daughter that to be able to, that's been willing to step up and do that, so I can continue to do this work. And I'm so appreciative for all you do for this family. And I just pray you keep your healing hands upon her, and not only her, Lord, anybody else that's out there that's having some kind of illness they're dealing with, that's keeping them from doing the work you have them to do. I pray you keep your healing hands upon them, so they may be able to come through what they're going through, because you are the Jehovah Rapha, you are the God that heal. And I know a touch from your hand can heal them of whatever infirmities that may be keeping them from doing your work. We pray you just continue to watch over the ministry, continue to help it grow. Be with River Lake Baptist Church, continue to help it grow. Thank you for his sponsorship, Lord. And I just thank you for being with the pastor and giving the wisdom to back me in this ministry. And I think a lot of people has been helped because of it. I pray you also watch over all our honorable servants, Lord, all your honorable servants, all those public servants, people in the military, law enforcement, medical service, rescue service, people of that nature that put their health, life, and safety at risk to protect their health, life, and safety of others. I pray you just continue to be with them as they do your work, and all your faithful servants as they do your work as well. Fill our hearts with your spirit. Give us your power, love, and wisdom over any problem may arise that may keep us from doing the work you have for us to do, and give us the guidance to come across those that need to hear your gospel messages and your word of encouragement, and the spirit to share that with them with boldness. Watch over this family. Continue to help us grow and prosper in your name, and pray you just continue to use this word, this time, and these efforts to build your kingdom, honor, glorify your name, and turn the hearts of this world back to you. Thank you so much for all you've done and all you've given. Thank you for this lesson tonight. And I pray, Lord, that this day can be the day where the world as a whole, we will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face, and turn from our wicked ways, so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins, and heal our lands. We love you so very much. Thank you for all you've done and given. And we say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right, man. I appreciate y'all for being here tonight. I got a couple of other people I know you normally here. I can never tell who all watch the videos, but a couple I haven't seen come in before. I appreciate y'all being here. And again, I hope y'all are here because these lessons are helping y'all. And if there's anything else that I haven't covered or anything y'all need to talk about, please reach out to me and let me know. And I will do my best to work some time into my schedule so I can spend that time with you and let you know, tell you the things that the Lord has revealed to me, reveal the things to you the Lord has revealed to me. That's all I will do. But other than that, I love you all. Y'all keep my family in your prayers. Again, I keep praying for y'all. Y'all keep praying for me. And Lord willing, we'll be back next Monday, like I said. And I'll bring you a different lesson. We're going to step away just for a week. We'll step away from this. And then hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll finish this up and we'll go in a different direction, start a new series. But until then, I love you all. Continue to pray for me. I continue to pray for y'all. And remember to always watch your back and pray. Until next time, I love you. Peace.